Now I'll do one more sum of Hojayev because in this sum adjustment factor is there, and after I finish this sum of Hojayev, then I will show the sum on the graph, how to plot it on the graph like I showed the previous sum. So it will become very clear to you how to take the points and plot it on the graph. After that you do two sums of Hojayev for homework. I will tell you which sums of Hojayevs for you to do for homework, and then the remaining one or two sums of Hojayev which is there in classwork, I will do with you when we do revision for the second test. This is there for your second test portion. So that time when we do this, that time I will do revision of the remaining two sums. I will do that on Zoom. So right now, in this sum, question 10 of classwork on page 53. Now in this sum, the class is not continuous. You will see that the class is shown as 121 to 130, 131 to 140. Then after that it is not 140 to 150, it is 141 to 150. So the class intervals are not continuous. Since the class intervals are not continuous, we need to make them continuous by using the adjustment factor. We need to use the adjustment factor and make it continuous, just like we did it in case of histogram. So the adjustment factor is the lower limit of the second class interval minus the upper limit of the first class interval upon 2. So the second class lower limit is 131. First class upper limit is 130. So it is 131 minus 130 upon 2, or 1 by 2, that is 0.5. So because it is 0.5, we subtract 0.5 from the lower limit of the unadjusted class which is given in the question. So 121 minus 0.5 will give you 120.5. 131 minus 0.5 will give you 130.5. And same way we add 0.5 to the upper limit of each class. So 130, when you add 0.5, it will become 130.5. 140, when you add 0.5, it will become 140.5. So we make the class continuous. Now the upper limit of the first class and lower limit of the second class is the same number. So that means the class is adjusted and the class is continuous now. So now next column is frequency F. That is as per what is given in the question. Then next you have to find the cumulative frequency, that is CF. So 12 plus 16, 28, 28 plus 30, 58, 58 plus 20, 78, 78 plus 14, 92, and 92 plus 8, that is 100. So in total, sigma F or N in this case is 100. Sigma F or N is 100, which is even. So when you find the median, in this question only median is asked. Median will be n by 2, the value of the n by 2 term, or 100 by 2, that is 50th term's value. We need to find that. And that answer will be the height in centimeter. So median height is so much centimeter. That value now I will plot the graph and show you how to plot it actual on the graph paper, so that it becomes simple for you when you plot. So please copy this down in your ruled page of the graph book. Write the correct question number and page number so that later in the exam time when you refer you know which graph is which sum. And we will do the graph now. So first, once you take your graph paper, I always suggest that you draw your x-axis here, that is just above the white patch, because you never know, if you cannot fit all the numbers there, then it is possible that you will have to erase the numberings, everything, and draw it again. So to avoid any confusion, you draw the x-axis always just above the white patch, don't take it up here. Same way, the y-axis I leave this white patch and immediately after that I draw it. Some people have the habit of drawing y here and x here. That is okay as long as the sum fits. But if the sum can't fit in the page, it would be a problem. So x-axis is in this case adjusted class interval height in centimeter. It is not the class interval, it is adjusted class interval. The first class starts from 120.5 after adjustment. So we will show a kink and start the first class from 120.5. Then on the y-axis, the total number of pupils, that is the number of students total is 100. So you have to fit up to 100. I told you in our graph paper there are 10 lines, 10 big lines. So that each 2 centimeter line of 10, that you will call it as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So y-axis 2 centimeter is 10 pupils, whereas x-axis 10 centimeter and 2 centimeter represents 10 centimeter height. So that is why x-axis 2 centimeter, this is representing actually 10 centimeter height, whereas y-axis 2 centimeter is representing 10 pupils. So always when you write the scale, x is written first and then y is written. And specifically write 2 centimeter is 10 centimeter because this is measuring height in centimeter, and y-axis 2 centimeter is 10 pupils, so mention that. And here we have written cumulative frequency, number of pupils. So now the first we will start plotting is 130.5 with 12. So 130.5, now in this case 10 small lines here, 10 small lines represent 10 units. So one small line is 1 unit. So 12 will be 2 lines above 10. So 10, 11, 12. So it depends on the scale of the graph whether one small line represents 1 or one small line represents 2 or one small line may represent 5. In this particular graph, one small line represents 1. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, exactly middle is 15, 16, that way. So we will not leave the graph in air. We have to end it on the x-axis. Always remember, the graph will start from the x-axis. So the first class starts from 120.5. So you will plot 120.5 with 0. Then 130.5 with 12. 140.5 is 28. So just below 30, 2 lines below 30, 28. Then next is 58. 150.5 is 2 lines below 60. That is 58. Now see, don't go skew here and there. Sometimes you look at 150.5 and end up drawing here. That makes the entire graph wrong. So if you want, you keep your line like this so that 150.5 and 58 itself is plotted. The next thing you will plot is 78 with 160.5. 160.5 and this is 80. 2 lines below 80 is 78. Then the next one you will plot is 92. 170.5 and 90 plus 2, 2 lines above 90. And the last one you will plot is 180.5 with 100. So you have to now draw the curve. The curve should be smooth. So your curve So that's the smooth curve that you have drawn. So now after you draw the curve, in this particular question only median is asked. So like I told you, there are 100 pupils. So the 50th student's height, that is the median height. So from 50, draw dotted line, and that dotted line show the arrow reaching the curve, and from the curve draw the line down to the x-axis. Mark the arrow. So this is your Q2. Find the value. Exactly between one. See now again here you will find that 10 small lines are equal to 10. So each line is 1. So this is 2 lines before 150.5. So 150.5, one line before that is 149.5. So 2 lines before that is 148.5. So you are getting the median height as 148.5 centimeter. In this particular case, you are asked only the median. Now let's say you were asked how many students, I'm just telling one more question, it is not there in the textbook. How many students have got height above 165.5? So where is 165.5 if you are asked that question? This is your 165.5. So from 165.5 you will draw the line straight. You have to draw the straight line. You have to be sure that it is one single line and not the adjacent line which you are taking. So that line you have to choose, go upward towards the ogive, and once you go upward towards the ogive, from there you will have to see which student is that. This question is not asked, but I am just doing it because such questions are generally asked in the boards. So from there you draw a straight line, you will get the value there as approximately 85 students. So 85 students have got height above 165.5. So 85 students have got height below 165.5. So above 165.5 will be 85 minus 100 minus 85, that is this 15 students. So here there is 85 students who have got height less than 165.5, and because there were 100 students, 100 minus 85, that is only 15 students are having height greater than 165.5. So such questions can be asked. In this, of course, only median was asked. So now for homework, you can do the two sums which I will now mention. We will start with a new chapter now, that is matrices. This chapter has got a lot of applications in future in programming, because based on this you can have various uses, like to draw diagrams in computers using graphical solutions. You use matrices. So you learn the basics of matrices very thoroughly, because anyone who does maths in 11th and 12th and in classes after that will have to deal with matrices. So now what exactly can matrices do and what is matrices? I am not teaching you any matrix multiplication at the start. I am just trying to explain to you what is matrix and what is its use. How can you use it? Because many times it happens that student asks at the end of the chapter, ये सब करके क्या करना है? So it is like after learning geometry, geometry has a lot of uses. Angles, four figures, all those things, polygons, everything has a lot of uses. But sometimes you feel that mugging up the theorem and writing it, what is the use? There are some basics which you have to learn so that it can be applied to a large extent later. Architecture requires a lot of drawings. Architecture is not just building so many blocks, but various items in maybe designing cars, planes, everything requires drawings. So here let's just consider a very simple example. We are considering that 3 schools A, B and C are participating in 10 events. If they are participating in 10 events, there will be 10 gold medals, 10 silver medals and 10 bronze medals which they can win. And in this particular event, it has been pre-decided that for gold you will give 10 points, for silver you give 7 points for each silver medal that a team wins, and for a bronze medal the points allotted is 4. So 10, 7 and 4 points are given for gold, silver and bronze medals respectively. Now at the end of the contest, it was seen that Team A has won 4 gold, 3 silver and 3 bronze. So you know obviously how do you calculate 4 into 10, 3 into 7 and 3 into 4. Because that's what's the points allotted. You will add it and then say team A has got so many points. Team B 3 gold, 4 silver, 3 bronze. Team C 3 gold, 3 silver, 4 bronze. Now the total evens are 10, so they should add up to 10. They should add up to 10. They should also add up to 10 because there are 10 gold, 10 silver and 10 bronze. And team A can win maximum 10 medals. Team B can win maximum 10 medals. And team C can also win maximum 10 medals. So we have made one set of arrangement as per the data of how many contests which team won. And in how many contests they stood second and in how many contests they stood third. Now this is how a matrix is represented. It is represented in horizontal rows and vertical columns. Just like your periodic table, rows and columns means the same thing. Horizontal rows and vertical columns. So in this there are 1, 2, 3 rows and 1, 2, 3 columns. So this, where you have shown how many medals they have won, this is a 3 into 3 matrix. This is a 3 cross 3 matrix. The first number you generally write it as m into n matrix, where m represents number of rows and n represents number of columns. So the first you write rows and then columns. 3 into 3 matrix is also called a square matrix because the number of rows and columns is same. Now you know that gold is getting 10 points, silver is getting 7 points and bronze is getting 4 points. So therefore the first matrix, which is the 3 into 3 matrix, which indicates the number of medals that the team has won, has to be multiplied by the points tally, points allotted. So that is the second matrix. Now you will find that the second matrix, 10 points for gold, 7 points for silver and 4 points for bronze, is the second matrix, which has 1, 2, 3. It has 3 rows and 1 column. It has 3 rows and 1 column. So 1 row, second row, third row, and there is only 1 column. So now the multiplication of those two matrices, that will give you the product matrix, which will give you how many points that the students or each team A, B and C has won. The events are decided on the basis of the total points won, not just on the basis of how many gold medals who has won maximum. So now it is general knowledge that when you multiply, what do? Gold you multiply with points for gold. So first we write for team A. For team A, it is 4 into 10, 4 gold into 10 points for the gold, 3 into 7, 3 silver, so points for silver is 7, and 3 bronze, so 3 into 4. Then the next, team B has won 3 gold, so 3 into 10, 4 silver, so 4 into 7, and 3 bronze, so 3 into 4. And last, team C, 3 gold, so 3 into 10, 3 silver, so 3 into 7, and 4 bronze, so 4 into 4. So now we have to find the total points won by A, B and C. 40 plus 21, 61 plus 12, 73. Team A has scored 73 points. Team B 30, 28. 30 plus 28, 58 and 12, 70 points. And Team C 30, 21, 51 and 16. So 67 points team C. So that's the amount, that's the points by A, B and C. And what we did is what you're going to learn in this chapter, that is matrix multiplication. It is logical multiplication. There are other things like addition, subtraction, all that you can do with matrices. So this is one of the basic things that you did. It is very simple to understand, it is common sense. Even without using any matrix, you would have told 4 into 10, 3 into 7 and 3 into 4. That is exactly what we did with matrices also. So it is something that is very simple and very useful. Similarly, there is one more use of matrices. I told you it can be used to draw diagrams, to show diagrams. So you can draw lines and represent lines. So for example, if you have an equation x plus y is equal to 5 and x minus y equal to 1. So these are two simultaneous equations. Generally you will solve it simultaneously and find the answers. That is if you want to solve it and find the answers. But what is this? Don't just consider it as simultaneous equations which will give you answers of x and y. This is the equation of a straight line. So what you are getting, x and y values are values which satisfy the equation of this line. That means they lie on that line. In 9th standard you have done this. You have done graphical solutions. You took different values of x and plotted corresponding values of y. Then you wrote xy and drew the graph, straight line graph. Then you did x minus y, another graph, by taking 3 different values of x and finding corresponding values of y. So this is basically an equation in x and y is the equation of a line. So now this also can be solved using matrices. So in this case, here you have a 2 into 2 matrix. The coefficient of x, first coefficient of x here is 1. The coefficient of this y is also plus 1. The coefficient of this x, the second equation, is also 1. And the coefficient of the y in the second equation is minus 1. Now the two variables are x and y. So the second matrix is x and y. And the solution is 5, 1. So those two simultaneous equations can be represented like this, or this matrix. In fact, this matrix, when multiplied, you get these two simultaneous equations which you can solve and then find that x is 3 and y is 2. You can get the values of x and y by solving. In fact, this is a matrix equation which is actually giving you two equations of two different lines. And the point of intersection of those lines can be found. So this is matrices. Now matrix multiplication, how can you multiply matrices? Two matrices you can multiply only if this one condition is satisfied. See, first of all, if I call this as the first matrix and that as the second matrix, the number of the second one written here is columns. First is row, second is column. The number of columns of the first matrix should be equal to the number of rows of the second matrix. Only if this is equal, only then multiplication is possible. So the number of columns of the first matrix and number of rows of the second matrix should be equal. Only then you can multiply and find the product matrix. And the product matrix which you got here, how many rows and columns does this have? 1, 2, 3. 3 rows and 1 column. So the product matrix is 3 into 1. Why? Because the order of the product matrix is this. The number of rows of the first matrix into the number of columns of the second matrix. So this is going to give you, this is what you have got here, the order of the product matrix. Anyway, my idea of showing you this was just to show you the use of matrices. I've not started any sum. This is just the basics of matrices. It's a simple topic. Obviously, if you take any topic in terms of marks, this chapter will come, maximum 2 sums may come. 1 sum will definitely come, 2 may come, because there are optional questions also in section 2. So this is a very simple chapter to score 7 marks or 8 marks in the boards. 2 questions are likely to come. Section 1, any question can come in section 1. So you cannot say that I'm going to leave that chapter or this chapter for option, because if it comes in section 1, you will be unable to solve it. So this is a simple chapter. We will start with the basic theory which is required, the basic sum theory required for this. Please copy this down in your long books. So now some things related to matrices. First of all, square matrix. Very simple. It can be of any order, but the number of rows and columns should be same. So this is 1 row, second row, first column, second column. The number of rows and columns is 2 into 2. So this is a square matrix. Number of rows and columns is same. 3 into 3 is also a square matrix, but your syllabus is limited to 2 into 2 matrix. So generally 3 into 3 matrix questions are not there and is not asked in any exam, even in school exams. Now 0 or null matrix is a matrix in which every element of the matrix is 0. It is not necessary that it should be a square matrix. This is a rectangular matrix. Here how many rows and columns? 2 rows and 1 column. So generally when you write the order of such a matrix, you write 2 into 1. So this is 2 rows into 1 column. But all the elements, that is both the elements are 0. So it is a 0 or null matrix. This is a square matrix, 2 rows, 2 columns. But all the elements are 0. So it is a 0 or null matrix. The next is diagonal matrix. It has to be a square matrix first of all. It is a square matrix in which all the elements other than the elements of the leading diagonal is 0. Leading diagonal is from the top LHS to the bottom RHS. That means first row, first column element to last row, last column element. This is row 1, column 1. So the seat number here is row 1, column 1. So that is what I wrote, first row, first column element. And this is the last row and last column. So last row, last column element, that's the leading diagonal. This is not the leading diagonal. From top LHS to bottom RHS, that is the leading diagonal. Please understand that. Other than those elements, all the other elements are 0. So this again, it has to be a square matrix. First of all, it is a square matrix. Only the elements of the leading diagonal, here it is A, B and C. All the other elements are 0. Such a matrix is known as a diagonal matrix. Most important, what you need to remember is this. Because generally something based on this is asked in the exam. Some multiplication or something in which you may be told that I is a unit matrix, unit or identity matrix. It is same diagonal matrix, so it has to be a square matrix. Non-leading diagonal elements have to be 0, but in this case all the elements of the leading diagonal are 1. So it is a specific case of a diagonal matrix. So all diagonal matrices are square matrices, so you cannot have anything other than square matrix. So here this is a 2 into 2 square matrix, that is a 3 into 3 square matrix. The elements of the leading diagonal are 1, all other elements are 0. Elements of leading diagonal are 1, all other elements are 0. That is denoted by capital I. unit or identity matrix. Now transpose of a matrix denoted by A dash or AT or A capital T, A raised to capital T. This means that the original matrix is matrix A. If the original matrix is matrix A, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now someone may say, how do I say, do I call it 1, 3, 2 and 4? No, usually you say 1, 2, 3, 4. That means first you are going row wise and then you are going to the next column. So, in this case what happened in AT? The first row of A is now made the first column of the transpose. The second row of A becomes the second column and so on. So actually you have interchanged the rows and columns. So if you take the first column, this will become the first row. Second column will become the second row. So you are just interchanging the rows and column. Number remains the same. First row becomes first column. Second row becomes second column. So the new matrix after you interchange the rows and columns is denoted by A dash or AT, that is known as transpose of the matrix. So here we are seeing how to add and subtract matrices. Now addition and subtraction of matrices is only possible if two or more matrices which has to be added or subtracted are of the same order. So the order of the matrices should be same. Then we add or subtract the corresponding elements. For example, here you have two matrices. The first matrix, the order is 2 into 2. So you can only add two matrices if the second one is also 2 into 2. So now how do you add? You are just adding the corresponding elements. First row, first column element with first row, first column element. So 1 plus 2. So it's very simple. 2 plus 3. 3 plus minus 1. And here it is minus 4 plus 2. So that is equal to something, another matrix called ABCD. So what is ABCD? We have to find. So when we add, we get 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, 3 minus 1 is 2, and minus 4 plus 2 is minus 2. So then you compare the corresponding elements and we write A is equal to 3, B is equal to 5, C is 2, and D is minus 2. So that is how you add. If it was subtraction, it would have been 1 minus 2, 2 minus 3, 3 minus of minus, it would have been plus 1, and so on. So just like you did addition, you can do subtraction. So next you need to know what you mean by multiple quantity. Earlier what example I showed you while teaching you example of what is the use of matrices, when I told you gold medal, silver medal and the points, that was multiplication of two matrices. Here you have only one matrix. This is a 2 into 2 matrix. That is multiplied by another number 2. This 2 is known as a scalar quantity. 2 is not another matrix. It is just another number. So then you have to multiply each element of that matrix with that scalar quantity. So in this case 2 is multiplied with all the elements. You may say, array, isme trigonometry. Yes, there are questions which are asked in the boards in which you are supposed to know all the sine, cos and tan values. You learned this last year. You have two topics based on trigonometry this year also. So sine 30 is half, cos 30 is root 3 by 2, tan 30 is 1 by root 3, and tan 45 is 1. So you are writing the corresponding values as per the trigonometric tables. So 2 into each one of them, 2 into half will give you 1, 2 into root 3 by 2 gives you root 3, 2 into 1 by root 3 is 2 by root 3, and 2 into 1. So that is how you get the resultant matrix, scalar quantity into the given matrix. The scalar quantity has to be multiplied with each element of the given matrix. So now we will do just couple of sums and then we will continue with the sums in the next class. So on page 119, the first question, very simple, 2 into this particular matrix in which there is one unknown, that is x. The second matrix plus the second matrix in which again there is one unknown, y, is equal to a third matrix 7, 0, 10, 5. So this is scalar multiplication that needs to be done first. So 2 into 3, 6, 2 into 4, 8, 2 into 5, 10 and 2x plus the second matrix as it is gives you the third matrix. So we have to add the corresponding elements. This is 6 plus 1 becomes 7, 8 plus y is 8 plus y, 10 plus 0 is 10 and 2x plus 1 that is equal to 7, 0, 10, 5. Now 7 and 7 they are equal, fine. 10 and 10 they are equal, fine. 8 plus y should be equal to 0. Why? If two matrices are given equal, then the corresponding element should be equal. So 8 plus y is 0 or 8 is minus, y is equal to minus 8. So that is the answer for y. Similarly 2x plus 1 is equal to 5 or 2x is equal to any shifted there 4 implies x is equal to 2. So that's how you find x and y. Very simple. The next you are given two matrices A and B. They are both of the same order, 2 into 2. This is also 2 into 2 matrix, that is also 2 into 2 matrix. So you are asked 2A plus B. So 2 is the scalar in front of the matrix A plus the matrix B. So 2A will give you 2, 2 into 4 is 8, 2 2s are 4 and 2 3s are 6 plus minus 4 minus 1 minus 3 minus 2. So when you add the two matrices minus 2, 7, 1 and 4. So 2A plus B is this particular answer, that is answer 1. Same way you are asked, you are given C plus B is 0, 0, 0, 0. That means C plus, the C is a matrix, B is the matrix which is already given. That gives you a null matrix. So when you write the matrix B as it is, then when you shift it to the other side, the plus in front of the matrix will become minus. The elements of the matrices remain as it is. This plus on the other side, it becomes minus. So it becomes 0, 0, 0, 0, minus of all these terms. So minus of minus each of those terms will become plus. So C will be 4, 1, 3 and 2. So that is matrix C. So here you should be aware, like you solved in equations or inequations. Similarly, you can shift the entire matrix to the other side of equal to. Please note there is no matrix division. Not B, 5A minus 3B. So 5 is the scalar multiplied with each element of the first matrix and minus, then 3 into B, B is the second matrix. Do the multiplication, 5, 20, 10 and 15. Minus remains as it is, I am multiplying with 3 only. Minus is here. So minus 12, minus 3, minus 9 and minus 6. So minus of minus, all this becomes plus when they are added. So 5 plus 12, 17. 20 plus 3, 23. 10 plus 9, 19. 15 plus 6, 21. So that's your matrix D. So we stop the students for maths today. We will continue after in the next session. Bye.